Merry New Year! Welcome to Teletextr podcast, the first one of 2016.
You're presently at the Teletextr index. Page 100. Introductions and Teletext news with Dan and Carl. Page 200. International Relations with Bruno St Gelais of the Canadian branch of the Teletext Facebook group. Page 326. The Facebook question of the month. Page 500. The interview with Russty Russ. And on page 888, subtitles in Zombie Dave Ease. Friends now, it's over to Dan and Carl. Over to them in the studio.
Welcome, this is Clyde Sinclair. The Teletext brand obviously was made by those evil bastards at Acorn, who can't even answer a bloody telephone. If it's a Sinclair brand, it'd be very elegant and it'd have more than the set amount of characters per screen. It would be a lot cheaper and it would be available to everybody in the street, including the man on the Clapham Omnibus. So welcome to Teletextr.
Clapham Omnibus? What are you talking about, you muppet? I'm Alan Sugar. I invented the Amstrad CPC and you could have teletext on the Amstrad CPC. What could you have on your computer, eh?
Well, I'll have Jet Set friggin' Willy for a start, and then you'll have it on your stupid Amstrad emailer phone, no doubt. Now get out of my way. Where's that Chris Curry?
No, you're fired!
Yes, welcome to Teletextr.
Yes, welcome Teletexters to the web's most listened to podcast about teletext and only teletext. And
that's official.
Yes, tonight we're going to be talking about teletext Home and Away, not to the Australian soap opera, in this international edition featuring an expose on the Canadian teletext scene courtesy our North American correspondent, Bruno St Gelais.
Bonjour, Bruno. Comment ça va? Oui, d'accord.
Bonjour, Bruno. And we'll be saying hello to him a little bit later on. But before we make the long flight to North America, Teletextr starts at home, just like charity. Here in the United Kingdom, we have myself. Hi, I'm Dan. And we have Carl.
Hello there, yes, and just like charity, it begins at home and that's where it ends in my house.
Okay. Well, welcome back to the Teletextr podcast, Carl. Been up to anything interesting, teletext or otherwise, of late?
Well, I've been looking around on the Facebook group, very pleased with everything going on there. We've got about 2 million members now, which is really good since the last one, and got lots of engagement, been looking on there, and it's been giving me my teletext fix. I've had some other things on the go in real life, but I've been able to keep abreast of all things teletext and play around with the odd page, thanks to your advent calendar that we had playing over Christmas with contributions from other great teletexteers as well. But yeah, it's really weird. I mean, we're in January, it feels like half a year some days, and then it feels like we've only just begun, to quote a Carpenter's track.
Yes. I'm not old enough to understand what you're talking about there, I'm afraid, even though I'm clearly old enough to understand teletext, so there's something of a quandary, a paradox going on there. But yes, I'd like to shout out Ronnie Big Boots and Simon Ferre for contributing to the Teletext 40 Advent Calendar 2015. It'll certainly be back for 2016. It's becoming a yearly tradition now.
Well, it only needs one more year to become a yearly tradition, which is really good. And also, yeah, so also a big double height thank you to those guys as well. I managed to do one sheet, and I think those guys between them managed to do the other 29 odd, including yourself. In fact, not just a double height thank you, but a flashing double height thank you, perhaps in green and red.
Well, your contribution is fantastic, I have to say. Let's just describe it for the people out there. It's a couple of bells, and it says ding and indeed dong in the fantastic teletext font.
Thanks very much, Dan. You're too kind. But some really good ones there, and I think one of the ones that I think Simon did, it sort of reminded me of Monster Maze for the ZX81 for some reason. I don't know why. It was just the way it's all set out.
Yes, the 3D effects thing he had going on there.
Haha, excellent.
Indeed. We have a quick shout out to make to somebody on the Teletext Facebook group, and that is a new member, and you may have heard of her, Carl. She is Portia Hussain, a huge fan of the teletext format.
Shall I let you into a little secret about Portia? I think she likes me, Dan. I think she likes me. So I've made her admin of the group.
We could get a little bit of teletext romance, a bit of teletext dating going on here.
She's really good. I mean, if you ever do have a chance to see her profile picture, she's flicking the V, which is quite mad. She's quite a jaunty lady. She's very classy.
Yes, and she is very knowledgeable about teletext as well. In her short time on the Teletext Facebook group, she has posted many things about teletext, technical and otherwise, so second to none, the knowledge there.
I was just looking at her profile picture. I don't know if they're like dead chickens or something in the background with a big pink cap on. Hello, my name is Portia, and a new member on here. And it got really good. It got some really good engagement. I've just looked at one from your Razadats, but he's just done a thumbs up, a GIF back at her as well. So, yeah, it's really nice to have someone like that around. You know, a bit of new energy, a new look on the perspective of a classic medium that is known as teletext. I reckon that's Bamber's niece.
Oh, he could very well be, yes.
Yeah, yes.
Portia Boozler. Wait a minute, Portia, that's a car, isn't it? She's named after a car.
I think her brother's called Starbardia. She got Portia, so they must have Starbardia as well.
I'm sorry, once again, that's gone over my head because I'm... Oh, right, yes. No, sorry, I'm not a seafarer in person, I'm afraid.
Oh, please don't apologise, me old sea dog.
Aren't you Sea Dog? I'm H-Yak.
Yes, my old sea yak.
What's up, my man Sea Dog? I'm going to start calling you that.
Yeah, so it's like Snoop Dogg, isn't it? Yeah.
From now on, I'm going to change your name on the Facebook group to Sea Dog.
Arr, yes, me ship's biscuits. I can't wait to get them out. Was that a Mancunian? That was a Mancunian pirate. Can't wait to get them out. Pieces of 8.
Pieces of 8. Going down Canal Street. It's a gay Mancunian pirate. It's a very specific band in which to fall, really. Oh, dear.
Yeah, those days since the Hacienda shut, everyone's at a loose end.
Yes, since Teletext closed down, they've nothing to do, these pirates, except go down Canal Street all the time, all day, basically.
Yeah, but it's amazing though. You go from people like obviously the highly esteemed Portia that we're talking about to other members that have joined recently. Some people have really actually posted some really nice things about joining the group. I mean, there's Chris Sangari, who feels very privileged to join the group, and he shared some really great memories about his Ceefax and his recollections on the Children's ITV and CBBC, how he remembered all the page numbers too. And there's a fair few paragraphs there, so I mean, I won't read it out, just go there and read it. But he's rediscovered the fact that you can lift these pages from SVHS tapes. So it's amazing, really, that people really give it that thought as well. So big shout out to Chris Sangari and any others that join as well. There's some really nice people that are coming on and saying, thanks for letting me join. I'm thinking, well, you know, more the merrier. You either contribute or you don't, as long as you watch and enjoy. That's the main thing. It was really nice to get some like heartfelt recollections of Teletext there coming through on the group. So, you know, Portia, we love you, but you've got to pull your socks up a bit. And I checked the other groups that you joined, and they're not particularly techie. So I'm hoping that we can give you a little bit more refined knowledge through your newfound subculture of the love of the teletext.
Yes. And we would go through every single person that has joined the Teletext Facebook group. But unfortunately, it would take us forever because we now have over 230 subscribers to the Teletext Facebook group, which can be found at facebook.com/groups/teletextgroup, all one word.
Yes.
And that certainly wasn't a promo. And this whole episode is not one gigantic promo for the Teletext Facebook group. Certainly not. Oh, actually, I've just noticed that somebody, one of the joiners of the Teletext Facebook group, has a picture of a pirate. So maybe they are one of the gay pirates from Wall Street.
They're just very happy, surely.
Yes. So thank you very much to everybody that has joined recently.
Shout out to everybody who has a profile picture.
Yes, and even those that don't.
And if you don't, that's absolutely fine as well. There's some really top people there, people that you may know from other walks of life, and there are some people that you may not. Really good that we could all meet somewhere and share the old Teletext love.
Excellent. And there's also a yak, apparently, who is an admin there. So I don't know what he's doing on there. What's this? We've had one blocked person. Oh, never mind. I was just going to joke about who
you haven't blocked her.
Never mind. No, never mind. Never mind.
Our next guest coming up is Portia. No, that's not entirely true.
Right, so tonight we may be having an extra guest who I will announce as soon as they arrive, if they do. And actually, you'll probably know who that guest is, because if they're going to appear, it'll be in the title. So this bit itself is totally pointless, and I'll probably have to cut it out.
Or you may not. Aha.
Yes, I think we'd better just get on to the teletext-related news. What do you think, Carl?
Okay, well, coming up with Teletext news, shall we kick off with the bad stuff first, and we can finish with the happy stuff?
Yes, okay. Shall we go with the Teletext obituaries, which is unfortunately an ongoing quest to document, shall we say, the downfall of Teletext. Not that we take any pleasure in this. In fact, quite the opposite. But another Teletext service has, this month, bitten Freddie Mercury's dust.
Dung, dung, dung.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's like in stereo, one bit in Essex, the other bit in Wiganshire. That's incredible. Yes.
I'd like to know how that would sound in Teletext. Somebody go out there and program it for us, please. Anyway, VRT, or it could be VRT in
VRT.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which broadcast teletext in Flanders has suffered declining figures since drawing 500,000 viewers a day, cripes, in 2010.
Crumbs.
But one piece of good news is that the Dutch public broadcaster NOS will be continuing its teletext broadcasts for the foreseeable future.
I've got an NOS story, actually, which is completely boring, but living on the East Coast, when the BBC used to get in sort of liney, used to get lines across it because of the high pressure, that was my cue to get the portable out and tune into where Channel 5 is now and tune in. And I used to get NOS on the Dutch bit, so it's the exit in. But because their sound is on a different part of the signal, you could never get the sound, but you got the picture, and the picture was really good. I used to get PTT Ned and NOS, a couple of NOS channels, and I used to watch Neighbours in Dutch without the English. And even when Channel 5 was up and running, with the high troposcopic, or skip, as they called it in the ham trade.
All right, Skip.
Skip. Hello, Skippy. Hello, you Drongo. You were able to watch Dutch TV in England at better quality than you could Channel 5 any other time of the year. Gee whiz, mate. Go figure.
That's amazing. I never knew that you could get Dutch teletext and Dutch television here in the United Kingdom. The only thing that I could get usually is Welsh TV, because I always used to pick it up and watch the Welsh football on BBC Two Wales, and hence you could get BBC Two Teletext Wales, Ceefax Wales, but unfortunately it was exactly the same as the English teletext, except the TV listings were slightly different.
Was it in Welsh, or was it all glitched because of the signal?
It was all in English. It was all in English, but there was a Welsh language teletext service in the form of S4C. That is the Welsh version of Channel 4 that we have here in the United Kingdom.
Channel 4 Cymru or something like that. So
Cymraeg.
yeah, Cymraeg. Cymraeg am buff.
You're buff?
Cymraeg am buff, isn't it? Is that Wales the best?
Oh, it could be. I'm not sure. I don't know any Wales. Oh, sorry.
I don't know any Wales, not personally.
Oh dear. I don't know any Wales, but I don't know any Welsh either. So, once again, we're not really qualified to comment on this situation, are we?
No, we will reserve our judgment until we either meet a whale or meet a Welsh person.
Or a Welsh whale.
Okay, well, before we find out that most of our Facebook people are in fact from Wales and they're going to withdraw their friendship from our page, let's move on at great pace to the next item.
We love Wales. Can I just say, Wales is fantastic. They're my second nation in the football, and I love going there on holiday. Brilliant place.
I love Wales too, but I couldn't eat a whole one.
You couldn't eat a whole Welsh person?
Never. I couldn't. That's terrible.
Okay.
Okay, all right, that's enough of that then, right?
Yeah, so
moving on quickly.
Yes, some more good news. German broadcaster Text is going from strength to strength. Yes, you may know of these guys. During 2015, it had over 40 million, that's 40 million unique viewers via televisions and the online teletext emulated service.
Oh, das ist prima.
Das ist gut, ja. And at the start of January 2016, Text opened its own branch of the Museum of Teletext Art, which has been running on Finnish teletext for, I believe, over a year now. And Dragan Espenscheid's Lucky Cat is the first piece to be exhibited. A very, very famous piece of teletext art, although nowhere near as famous as Dragan's Teletext Babes project.
Oh, excellent. Nice and hot. Excellent stuff. So are you going to get over there at some point to look at this? Is it a physical museum or is it just a museum in the ether?
It's a teletext museum, so it is actually on teletext. But who knows? Maybe they will actually broadcast it at Ard HQ. And we're going to have some more news about Ard HQ as the year goes on. I will not reveal anything else at this moment in time, but we may be featuring Ard Text a little bit more during this calendar year.
Oh, that sounds intriguing. And like a good chef, you'll never reveal your sources.
No. So yes, some very, very good news, and some more good news over Christmas. Jason Robertson, his teletext tape recovery efforts, they have been covered by the popular television website Transdiffusion.
Oh, brilliant. I was hoping he'll get an MBE for services to teletext as well, because he's really put in a shift, hasn't he, on that, getting those pages up. Just absolutely brilliant, because I've said it before in the podcast, without people like him, teletext is just a memory. There's no documented evidence of it at all.
Jason has set up on his own website uniquecodeanddata.co.uk. That's uniquecodeanddata.co.uk/teletext76 if you want to go and visit it. He's already set up his own kind of teletext time machine, and this is what Transdiffusion we're reporting on. I believe there's about 15 or 20 services up there now, and that is even accounting for the fact that a lot of them were lost in a hard drive crash. No! So, yeah, but it's okay. He can rerun the software, the VHS to teletext software, on those tapes and recover that stuff, which is good. Because I've actually offered him some of my massive hosting space that I've recently bought. And if you go to archive.teletextart.co.uk, you'll be able to see some backup services that Jason is uploading there. And the intention is that hopefully, eventually, I'll get around to doing the very same myself and recovering teletext from tapes. I know I said that on the first edition, and I know I said that on the second edition, but eventually it's probably going to happen. It just takes time, you see.
All good things take time, so you got no worries there. You can keep saying it on every single episode. We know you're going to do it.
Well, if I keep reminding myself by saying it on these podcasts... See, the thing is, I went back and listened to the first episode, and then the second episode right after it. And because there was such a large gap between the episodes, I found out that we covered a lot of the same ground and said a lot of the same things on both episodes. So we're going to try not to do that on this episode, and apologies if we do.
Well, if you say something often enough, people will believe it.
Yes, just look at Oasis, allegedly the greatest band in the world, in inverted commas.
And also a great medium to put flowers in.
I wonder if Oasis could be a teletext service. Would be a great name. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, you could do Oasis to teletext service, and then have all their songs and all their references in their songs as little pages. That'd be quite interesting.
Yeah, as song lyrics. It would be interesting to an Oasis fan, but to everybody else, deathly boring, probably.
Well, you could wait for a lifetime to spend your days in the sunshine.
Sunshine?
Mm.
Well, actually, that has kind of got a link to Teletext, because I'm sure Oasis did appear in Planet Sound, which was a magazine on Channel 4 Teletext dedicated to music, edited by a bloke by the name of John Earls, who you can find on Twitter. These days, just do a search for John Earls, and he's very happy to talk teletext. So hopefully we'll get him on an upcoming edition. And if you're listening, John, please come on the next one. We'll talk about teletext porn. It'll be cool.
Please come to our show.
We'll be nice. We won't do anything naughty. Yes, we will, because it'll be about porn, won't it?
Yes, it'd be really good to get him on and talk about some of the things in music journalism, and our favourite subject, of course, not porn, but teletext.
Well, speak for yourself. But anyway, teletext porn, that's a topic for another show. And now, on the Teletextr podcast, it's time for part one of the interview with Bruno St Gelais. I'm going to throw it over to Dan, who's in Studio 2 right now with Bruno. So, Dan, it's over to you. Okay, thank you, Dan. Yes, I'm here with B. Gelais, aka Bruno, the chairman of the Canadian branch of the Teletext Facebook group. Bonjour!
Bonjour, bonjour.
Ça va?
Ça va, ça va.
Yes, ça va bien.
Ça va bien.
That's as much French as I know, apart from pantoufle, which is slippers.
Slippers, or pantoufle.
And de la confiture, which is jam.
Oh yeah, confiture, jam, and pantoufle. Okay, just catching a little bit. Okay.
And the reason, yes, the reason that I remember those is because I used to have a Learn French tape, and those are the only two words that I remember from it.
Oh, but that's cool, eh? Yeah, that's good way to learning, started learning, you know.
Yes,
Yeah.
but totally useless if you ever actually go to a French-speaking country.
Yeah, of course, especially for the French Canadian we're with the right accent, you know.
Excusez-moi, je voudrais de la confiture et le pantoufle. Yeah, very useful, isn't it? Sorry. I know no French. Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, that's
No
probably
problem.
very, very disrespectful there. But never mind, because we're not here to argue the merits of the French language. We're here to talk about teletext, aren't we? And yes, Bruno, I believe, is a huge fan of teletext. Now, I have to ask you this first.
Yep.
You're a resident of Canada, am I right?
Canada, especially Quebec, from province of Quebec. Oh, yeah, province of Quebec City.
Okay. Is that the western side or the eastern side of Canada?
North, south, east, yes, on the west. Yeah.
Ah, the west. Okay. So, what's the teletext scene like there currently in Canada?
Currently, something called electronic billboard on community TV on the cable station. You got cable television service, and then in some region, you got community TV. You got some electronic billboard. It's called just like kind of teletext, but not as nice and so proud as you get in Europe. Right now, there's a boring HD kind of text page, looks like PowerPoint projection, something like that, with picture and something. This is really different,
We have something a little bit like that here in the UK on the local TV stations, say in the cities like Liverpool and Manchester. You'd have local community billboards with "Visit the yoga session here in Liverpool" or something like that. But it's not the same. Basically, all they do is take JPEGs or pictures that they get sent, really low resolution JPEGs, and then they blow them up to HD and put some teletext style music over the top. And that, I guess, is the modern version of classic teletext. So yes, teletext in Canada was quite different to here in the UK. Can you explain how it used to work?
The difference, because so you in Europe, you got something's really impressive or really live. You keep the same technology from 40 years ago, 40 years, Mode 7. I wonder what you don't have this technology since. We all started up in the 70s with something called a company called Teletext. This is started up who's the pioneer electronic billboard in the hospital and it started up the TV cable service as well. And then Teletext it started off with the electronic billboard with boring white text and background strip and color strip for paragraph and all this. It looks like this first. This was the first computer contact when I was a kid in that period. I remember my father, or my mom, my dad, my mom changed the channel manually on the TV, and they passed these two channels. We got two channels, one for the TV guide and one for the community billboard. And each time they pass this channel, I get everything my attention. So this was the first impressive from Teletext. First billboard was my first contact with the Teletext, just before I got my first computer in 83 around.
Okay. So you say that it had white foreground text, but what sort of background colors were that? In the UK, we obviously have black, but was this mostly a blue background? When you think of teletext, do you think white text on a blue background?
See, only a white text with different from black for dark red to dark blue to dark green. There was no border in black, just like just like your teletext in Europe. This is a larger strip around from the one side of the screen to the right side of the screen. This is full size screen split with centered text and white. The fonts just look a little bit like your teletext and Mode 7 teletext. With same the zero character just look like the same with no bar on inside, no dash inside, the kind of zero like that. Also the opportunity to do that, make the text flashing, just like the European teletext, but only one color for the text, but different color for the background, split like that. This is what the first teletext looks like in the 70s and started at the 80s as well.
Okay. So I guess flash, was that reserved for emergencies like Earthquake approaching! Earthquake approaching!
Yeah, just like these boring weather advertisement. There's one guy in the web do video like that, just a fake teletext with the sound effects is the same, and then a guy on YouTube do this kind of video. This really,
Oh, really?
this weird. Yeah, I don't know that the name is this guy. But this is a channel, that is my favorite. But some of these videos, my favorite, I put that in my favorite. This is, you do some kind of boring American teletext, weather advertisement, weather alert and something like that with all the sound effect, the stress and the nuclear stuff, Interesting, yeah. Weird and interesting at the same time, yeah.
It is, yeah. It's fascinating in a strange sort of morbid sense. We want to see all these natural disasters, and when they actually happened, on VHS.
Yeah, I don't know why people still want to want to do fear of themselves, fear of humanity as this negative way. I don't know, it's really weird. It's in the year 2000. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the human condition, I guess.
yeah, that's the human condition. Yeah.
So yeah, you mentioned weather there, and that brings something up in my own mind. When I think of teletext and the weather, I think of the UK weather map in a pixelated format, but with Canadian and North American teletext, did it have the capability to show the same sort of primitive graphics that Ceefax, etc. did here?
No, because it all started up more when the Canadian government came out with this new technology called the video text at the end of the 70s, started up 80s. The video text, it was IRS graphic with 16 color palette. It all started up with Telidon service. Well, you talk about the map and the weather and all this. They started up with a channel, video text channel called Environment Canada. This is a special weather video text channel on the cable television with music, of course. This is teletext. And then Environment Canada got some map, got some symbols, and some graphic represent the clouds and rain and sun, all this stuff. So this is a little bit our revolution.
So actually, this is slightly more advanced than the 1970s teletext that we had here in the UK, because we stuck with that format and never ever changed. We just stayed with the 74 specification, and we've stuck with it right through to 2012, and Europe is still using it. But your version of teletext, I guess it advanced. Did it become more advanced as the years went by, graphics-wise?
If I talk about, the video text was really present in the 80s since video text, it started off with the Telidon, and then the Canadian federal government cut it off Telidon at the end of the 80s, and then cable service provider Videotron continued to progress the technology of video text on the interactive terminal called the video wave. And the video wave was a little bit more faster, but it's the same video text. Something is really cool, really charming with the video text is the way that the graphic slowly appear on like a painting canvas with the text appear real slowly. This is the charm of the video text. So this technology continue the video way with the interactive way. So I can, just like in Europe, the choice on the screen to want to see the weather and all the information, the weather horoscope and all the zodiac and all the stuff, including the games.
Right. Yeah, actually, that raises a question. Video text, not video text, video text, was that a two-way thing?
Yeah, it's just like the way the television. Yeah, also the video text in French, in France with the Minitel. That was that died that was not long life, you know. It was just like Ceefax and Oracle, you know. I'm really a good fan of your service, Ceefax and Oracle as well. Yeah.
Did you have Minitel in Canada?
No, never. It all started up with directly with internet in '95 because Minitel only belonged to the proud of France. For France and not for Quebec. Quebec, you start up with simply that drastically with internet in '95. Before that, we get the Videotron's video way terminal for the television with the video text, and also people always remember the game, as we say. They play. Video text.
Boy, we're gonna play a game. Yeah, we're gonna play a game.
Yeah, I gotta play a game. Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's a very good British accent.
It's just learning because they play, Junkie Show. Junkie Show. My sitcom comes there play on Parfum Fume. So Parfum Fume is live tonight. Yeah.
That's very good, very good.
Right.
Oh, sorry, I've pushed you off course there a little. What were we talking about?
I talk about if you get me Minitel on Canada. Minitel. The only something interactive with the screen before the internet was the video away from Videotron.
Okay, you were going to tell us about the game.
I don't see all the game because the game was in Quebec City, and that time I live in my native city of Alma. This is not the same cable provider. In Alma, some region got Cogeco cable, and Quebec and Montreal, big urban center, look at on Videotron cable service. So each time I visit my sister at Quebec in the 80s, I learn more that I never see on my cable provider in Alma. So
okay.
There was a difference. In that time there was Cablevision Alma, and then in Quebec there was a Videotron, and then see something different depending on the region we were visiting. The cable providers were different. Yeah.
So you had localized teletext broadcasts that didn't stretch across the whole nation.
Yeah. This is depending on the region you live in, the different video text and teletext were different. Yeah, that's really cool because each time you visit another country, another country, another city, another different region, something is different.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. You have an excellent idea there. We should do a teletext road trip where we go on Kickstarter and get people to give us money so we can go around the world and say, oh, the teletext is different in this country, and then write it down. A little notebook, take a picture. Thank you very much, Germany. Go on to the next country.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So, at what point in Canada could you start to see teletext dying out, starting to be phased out in favor of the internet?
It all started in the 90s and mid-90s. People, the more the web is developing, it gets more better. But there's still the teletext will survive after the internet, but really ends on the 98 or around the 98. I think this was 98. Usually people remember the teletext, but in Quebec they don't have the passion, just like we got me and you, just like, for example. Okay, so the teletext was just there for community billboard with boring announcement, but for the rest, I think the teletext is apology with the video with terminal period. And about the web, I just hear something that the video way should have a sequel called UB, but never be. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So there was supposed to be another teletext service, but it never came to fruition. Is that right?
Yeah, there's another improved service with a printer and all this
Ooh.
printer. Yeah, to do bank, to do when you buy something online or something like that, transaction, come in, you order, you
Right.
do your shopping online. That's one I said.
Okay. Oh, yes. We had that in the 80s. That came in around about 79, 80. It was called Prestel here in the UK.
Yeah, I see that. I
Yeah.
saw that. Prestel was just like kind of on the phone hookup, and it was. He's also got the charm to, the text take the time to appear. But this is pointing comment with the video text a little bit. That's cool.
Yeah, we didn't get that. I guess that's something that we missed out on in the UK. We don't get the slow ticker going across the screen, the text slowly loading in. It would just usually load in all in one or within like a second. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of sad that we didn't really get that.
You're talking about the horizontal scrolling message or something.
Yes, the way that it would
Yeah.
appear one letter at a time on the screen.
Oh, okay. That's slow. Okay, well, exactly. But there's something we get on Teletext in Canada. There was an express message, a horizontal scrolling message, smooth scrolling message. And this is something typical for the old Teletext. We get cable text. We call it cable text on that period. So this is like today. But this stuff is still there on the news, on TV news, with that telescriptor on the bottom of the screen, with the express news. And this is the way that it stays, as well showing the date and the time in the real time. So this is everything is still teletext today. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the grandson of teletext, isn't it? You look at it and see, oh yes, that's blatantly stolen from the teletext days. Whereas a 12-year-old would look at that and say, no point of reference whatsoever.
Anyway, the electronic billboard is still. It really is not there. So if I go to the store, I go to a grocery, on some store, on restaurant, we get something HD screen with electronic billboard on it. So you just everything just like you say at first. You say sooner, but the electronic billboard in HD with picture and of the modern one. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, we do have those here as well, in doctors and things, in the waiting rooms. Yeah, like the community billboard things. So yeah, the legacy kind of lives on in a bastardized version of teletext. Although here in the UK, that's a completely different thing from what we know as teletext, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just clinging on to the past. I'm sorry. I can't let go of it. Everything. I see everything as teletext. I don't know why.
Just like my pot of coffee,
Yes.
Maxwell's pot of coffee, that on Photoshop, the heading, just like your teletext and the bottom of the link, and really nice to do with Photoshop. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to change the subject slightly to music, and I'm going to ask, as a musician yourself, I'm going to play a bit of a critic's role here. What do you think of the choice of music that often accompanies pages from Canadian teletext services?
Okay, this was not as cool and as relaxed as you get in UK. UK. I really love the Ceefax music with the saxophone solo and something. So I'm really inspired to do a lot of music like that today, just for the teletext. Canada, the music is really varied. Right now on the electronic billboard, they put some local radio station. So you can listen to the radio station via the teletext, like they do on Cogeco cable, electronic billboard. The music really different depending on the region. This is not the same, they put different kind of music, various music.
Mm-hmm. So it's just like pop music or stuff from the radio, as opposed to specially composed or specially selected, easy listening music as we had here in the UK.
Yeah.
Oh well. At least you get music, because with actual teletext, you don't. There is no music, there's no sound. So I guess you provide your own soundtrack to teletext. And that's a challenge to all the people out there listening. Provide your own soundtrack to teletext. Buy a ukulele for £5 from your local charity shop and just jingle away. Just make up a little teletext song. Send it in to us and we'll play it here on the Teletextr podcast. So speaking of which, Bruno, thank you very much for composing us a couple of tunes, which you will hear throughout this very episode of the Teletextr podcast. They're fantastic.
Yeah, this is I do it for improvisation, always with contrabass and drums, and the saxophone do the voice with all this. This is really pure improvisation on the fly. When I do the recording of this. So I can do a lot of tune, take a beer at the same time, drink a beer at the same time. So this is spontaneous. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Well, it does fit very, very well, I must say. And it fits very, very well on this podcast.
Here's a sort of a side discussion from the teletext thing. Recently, the phenomenon on Facebook is to put pictures of yourself. It's sort of like a way back sort of thing where you put pictures of a young self on as your profile picture. I've obviously done it. You've done it because there's a slightly younger looking yak than the one that's normally on there. And I know that Bruno has as well. But I was just wondering, is there any way of actually distressing a photograph so you could take a picture of something that you're doing now and make it look like it was taken many years ago? And I don't mean just that Instagram putting the vintage thing on it. I'm thinking of pictures that you see in magazines. You see a young Matthew Smith playing with two different types of computer to program Jet Set Willy, or you'll see a dated picture of people from the 70s playing around with stuff. And I just wondered, is there any particular technique you could do for that? Do you have to dress up in clothes or something like that and just have it in like a normal black and white film to do that? Because that would be quite an interesting thing to try and pull off.
Well, I do know there is an app that's available right now. You can download it to your Nokia 2210s and your, I don't know, you can probably download it to your landline as well. I don't know what's going on with these. But this app, it's magical because it does exactly what you want. You get your picture, you take your snap, and then you upload it to the server. Wait 5 minutes, and then it whizzes around like a Polaroid and spits out the picture. And magically, not only is it sepia-toned or black and white or slightly washed out for the 90s, but you're also wearing the appropriate fashion for that time as well. So it literally sends you back in time. It sends you back through the years to the 90s, 80s, or 70s, of your own choosing, of course, and dresses you in appropriate attire and gives you the appropriate fashion styling. But of course, in my case, I don't need to do that because my styling is very much 60s.
So when was the last time you wore your digitized t-shirt?
Well, it's funny you say that because, well, I can't show you because this is an audio podcast, but I'm actually wearing it right now.
Really? Oh, wow. Excellent. Good work. Good work. I was going to put my digitizer one on, but I didn't do it today. But I noticed that the Mr. T ones are out.
Guys, if you want a digitizer t-shirt, I believe Zombie Dave's one of them. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Mr. T, he of the bins fame, the stay away from my bins fame. You can get your t-shirt right now from digitizer2000.com. And they cost, I believe, about 14, 15 quid. How much did yours cost, Carl?
Well, I think mine was about $12.95 plus loads of postage, but it didn't matter because the envelope I got on it has got a lovely picture made by Mr. Biffo himself, which I've cut out and put up on my wall. You know, it's really delightful, and I cut it up, put it up on the wall. And the beauty of it is I can be delighted by his nice picture that he's done with a Sharpie. And if I forget my address, that's conveniently printed in a nice Arial next to it.
Ariel.
Ariel?
It's a cayenne moment. Sorry to pull you up on this. I believe it's pronounced Ariel.
Ariel?
As in a television Ariel. Yes.
Ariel.
I don't know, it could be Ariel.
Could be Purcell. Purcell or Ariel. There's no others really. I think in America you have Tide, which is actually a de facto currency amongst people as well, Tide, because it's such a good washing powder. That's another story for another day. So what one did you say that you had?
Well, I have Ariel, Times New Roman, Verdana, Tahoma. Sorry, what were we talking about?
There you go. New from Marshall Cavendish, week-by-week collection of fonts. Available from your newsagent. You can collect these fonts and have them on display on your shelf at home. First font is Arial, and it's available for the discount price of $2.99. 560 parts.
Sorry, was this about teletext? Was your question about teletext?
No, it's about your T-shirt, I think.
Oh, right.
That's it. But I now think that we ought to do a magazine where you can give away a free font on the front.
And it's always a public domain one as well.
Yeah, we'll give away the font and it'll be like, now you can sit down in the comfort of your own home and read in a special font. And then when you're done with it, put it back up on a bookcase in these special binders that are available every week.
You know what we should do? We should give away a font free right now with the Teletext podcast. We should.
Oh,
what would we
yes.
give away? It has to be Teletext one, doesn't it, really?
I reckon we should just start with the ASCII characters first. My favourite was always the double height $, because you didn't really see it an awful lot apart from on the finance pages.
Ah, right. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Unless you lived in America, in which case you'll probably see it all the time. Except not, because they didn't really have teletext in America.
Aha, it's a gift that keeps giving. That's what we'll do then. Yeah, free on the front. We'll sellotape that on the front. If you take it off too quickly, you'll take a little bit of the front cover off as well if you're not careful. But if it's missing, you've got to ask your newsagent where it is.
Yes, if there's a few characters missing, if the comma and the hash are missing, then just take it back and you can get a replacement. And also a thump in the face from your newsagent.
And a puzzled look from everybody else who wants to buy their fags and their lottery ticket.
Yes.
I like to develop this idea. You could actually do it now and go, new from Marshall Cavendish, the pages of Teletext, put down for the first time in magazine format. This issue, page 100, the contents. And you can have 899 pages, including the clock cracker.
At $5.99 each, yes. Oh, the clock cracker. That's worth 100 quid in itself, man.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's available in 500 magazines or something like that. It'd be really quite cool. You go, oh no, I want to go to the Sport. Well, that's volume 6, page 300 onwards, and just look at it that way. I digress anyway.
Hello. Now, come on, give me the inside track. What's your top tip for the 320th Chepstow?
What's the going? Is it soft? Good to soft? Good? Heavy? Looks like rain. Are you a mudlark? I bet you are.
Hello. Now, I'm thinking about buying a property in this area. How much do you think it's going to cost me? 200,000? 250? I was gazumped last week. Yeah, gazumped. Do you think I should buy a plot of land and build my own? Well, you don't know any good architects here. What do you think about decking? Oh, hello. You don't know the score, do you, mate? Well, who do you think's going to win? What are the players having for their tea? You couldn't give me a leg up, could you? Oh, what are you doing? I'm a spectator. I've got rights. Judy, I'm wondering if you can recommend a good book, but nothing too long. I've got a very short attention span. I'm thinking about investing my money. Where should I invest? How do I make it grow? In stocks, shares, art?
Teletext on 4 is an easier way to find information on your favourite shows and much more. Just press the text button on your remote control.
Judy! Oh, Richard, now I've got your attention again. What should I do with my money? Do you think I should invest it? Oh, Richard, I'm sorry.
Well, it's time now, Mr. Carl, to move on
Yes.
to the Facebook question of the podcast. Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
Boom, 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 boom.
We was asking the question of the month, which was about Bamber.
Yes, that's correct. Carl Lateral, on the 8th of January at 6:40 a.m. UK time, asked, so, what do you think Bamber Boozler's voice would have sounded like? This has been seen by 84, and we're going to read out some responses right now, and hopefully try and attempt some of these voices to much hilarity. Now, Arnold Flatfoot suggests Tom Bosley.
Hello, Arnold, by the way, a close friend of mine.
Oh.
Hello, Arnold.
Hi, Arnold. Wait a minute, was that a
wait-
cartoon? Hey, Arnold.
Arnold.
Well, to start us off, who's Tom Bosley? According to Wikipedia, Thomas Edward Tom Bosley was an American actor, voice artist, television personality, and entertainer. He's best known for portraying Howard Cunningham on the long-running ABC sitcom Happy Days.
Oh, it's Cunningham's dad. Yeah, that's him. Oh, right, okay, yeah. So he's trying to say he sounds like Richie Cunningham's dad.
Yes, he does look quite a lot like Bamber Boozler. At least he did in his later years.
Oh, well, so through the magic of Audacity and the editing software, you're going to be putting a little sample of his voice in about now.
It's Bosley's Law. When it comes to keeping a handle on trash,
2 points!
you can never have too strong a grip.
Crowd is hushed. He lifts it!
Why take chances? Glad handle tie bags have 3 plies of stress flex. It makes the bag and handles extra strong, which comes in handy when your son goes for the world trash throw record.
He did it! The crowd goes crazy! Roar!
Glad handle tie trash and tall kitchen garbage bags. Why take chances? Get Glad.
Yes, and that was Tom Bosley there.
What a hero. I was definitely going to... He's got such an authoritarian tone to him.
Yes.
So next up, George Dawes said it was Barry White.
George Dawes? Isn't he from Shooting Stars? George Dawes, what are the scores? Asthmatic drummer.
I was obviously too old to watch that. No, is it? Welcome to Shooting Stars. So yes, we got Barry White.
Oh,
He don't do does he? That's Elvis.
oh yeah. Welcome to Bamboozle. Let's make it a red, not a blue Monday. Press the red button to start. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember Fat Harry White that Mark and Lard used to do?
He used to go round to this Bedford rascal.
It was really quite funny. You'd have to Google it.
Hey, how you doing this fine afternoon? 'Tis your one, your very own Fat Harry White here. First of all, sending out a whole lot of love to a very sexy lady friend of mine, Amy Wallhead, at North Casteven Sports Centre in Lincoln, which is right at the hub of Lincoln-Cestershire, that, isn't it?
Next up, who do we have?
We have Cara Moon, who suggests Spike Thompson is the actual voice of Bamber Boozler.
And who's Spike Thompson when he's at home then? Cara, we need you to come back and tell us more about this Spike Thompson.
Oh, wait, no.
Oh, no.
It's shouty, Dexter Fletcher. Right,
Oh.
he's a character out of Press Gang, and he presented
Oh.
season 3 of Games Master. Right.
Dexter Fletcher, I remember that. Yeah, press gang.
All right, guys, I'm Bamber and start my quiz. It's brilliant. It's fantastic. Right.
Is Mary Poppins going to come in after you in that voice or what? Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim chiroo.
Let me tell you what I'm gonna do here, okay? I'm gonna find a corner of this place to myself. I'm gonna sit with my feet high out of my head, and then I'm gonna get seriously relaxed. And if you disturb me one more time talking about newspapers, you're gonna end up a smoky hole in the floor, okay? So why don't you just take this and cut it into squares for your toilet?
So yes, Spike Thompson is shouty Dexter Fletcher. Well, I didn't know that because I never used to watch Press Gang.
Was he in The Wire as well? I don't know. That might be somebody else. I'm not sure. Maybe some listeners can help with that. And the next one coming up is from Dan Faramond there, and he's suggesting Microsoft Sam. So I'm wondering how he sounds.
Hi, Dan. Shout out to Dan. Long-time listener of this podcast.
Long-time listener, first-time emailer.
Yes. Well, Microsoft Sam might sound a little bit like this. Hello.
Oh, he's not.
I'm Bamber, and I am actually Microsoft Sam.
So it's like Forrest Gump, really, is he? Yeah. So he's not that annoying paperclip. You might not remember that because that might be before your time as well.
Oh no, I remember that well. We should do a teletext version of him, or not, because everybody will tune out.
You have selected Microsoft Sam as the computer's default unused feature, blah blah. Yo dude, that job can be boring. I can do more than that. So give me some music, E flat please.
Welcome to the Windows Songwriting Wizard.
Hey, who's that girl? Fat but sexy. This is Sam, talking to you proudly. I'm running stable and steady as a beat. Therefore, I may say it loudly. I deserve your main processor's heat. Oh, what a rain. You got Windows XP. Fat but sexy. Windows XP. Fat but sexy. I'm like an ocean liner in space. Don't watch my size. I'm weightless. I'm a sophisticated grace. So treat me wise.
Bruno St Gelais has suggested some French dude or some guy, Claude Brancard. So I don't know who he is, so we'll have to try and find out who he is at some point. Maybe you can have a word with him about that or something.
Que j'appelais ça. Alors, ils n'ont rien inventé, là, tu sais. Et Olivier Guimond, Paul Desmarteaux, Madame Pétry, Aline Duval, tous ces gens-là faisaient partie de mon show. Et moi, je montais des spectacles au cabaret de comédie.
And then we've got Doug Titchmarsh. Hello, Doug. Yes, I know Doug as well from the forums and everything like that. And he's a hybrid of Del Boy and Stephen Fry. That's interesting, isn't it? It'll be like, greetings, greetings, greetings. All right, mate. Do you want to press this? Sweet as a nut. I've got a pain in my Gregory. Hello. What's going on in the background there?
Oh, hello.
It's me. I'm here at last.
Hey, well done. Well done. It's like tuning into some... Crocky, who let them in?
That's my pocket radio audience that I carry around with me everywhere.
Ha! Excellent. Hello, you must be Russ. Nice to meet you, mate.
And you? I haven't got the German S's, though.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yes, the master of the S. Excellent. Yes.
Excellent.
Brilliant. Excellent, yes. How are we finding you this fine evening then, Russ?
Not too bad, sirs. Not too bad. Have I missed anything so far? Because normally I'd obviously listen to it as it went out. Obviously, I feel like I'm missing something already.
No, not at all. We're just running through on what Bambler Boozer would actually sound like if he had a voice, and we're just going through a few of the possible things that a few contributors on the Facebook group have done. You imagine that Bambler Boozer would make a Louis Walsh-style voice to say, Bambler, your voice reminds me of a young Bob Monkhouse.
That's sublime, that is.
Yes, he's absolutely brilliant. This is probably a really good answer there as well. So that's good.
Welcome to Bamboozle. Please press the red button to continue. Yes, I'm going to tell a rubbish joke now, but you're all going to like it because everybody likes rubbish jokes. It's tea time for here on the BBC. This is what we have here on Ceefax. I mean, sorry, this is Channel 4, isn't it?
I don't know if Bamboozle's ever had more than 15 questions before. I know it's pretty random just going out with that. I know they went down to 12 with their cutbacks, whatever it was, but...
Well, if you've read my article on digitizer2000.com, in which I go on for flipping ages about this...
What was that, Mr. Yak? What website was that?
Yes, digitizer2000.com. Head on down to that website and do a quick search for Bamboozle. I've written an FAQ/guide to the video game because, yes, Bamboozle was or is a video game. And in that, I dug up some research to suggest that at one point Bamboozle had 20 questions, and in fact, on rare occasions, it had 30.
Crumbs. That's quite hardcore, actually.
I feel a bit embarrassed because I just realised I think you credited me at the bottom for helping out with one of the facts on it about cheating with the fast text keys.
That's right. I credited everybody who commented on my original post on the Facebook group saying that I was going to write an article about Bamboozle. Except I should give a shout out to Jason Robertson, who I forgot to credit. Sorry, Jason.
Perhaps the hardest worker, and you managed to miss him somehow. Oh, God knows how. I bet you're feeling rather guilty for that. I noticed your comment. You were very quick to comment. Oh, no, I forgot you, Jason. I forgot you. I'm ever so sorry.
Yes, I posted a comment. Though my favourite comment on that article was from a mysterious person who said I should stick to the drawing. Which was brilliant. That made my day, that did. I love the sense of humour of the guys on Digitizer 2000.
Yeah, they're very good. They really are out there, that's for sure.
Right, so we have one more of these Bamboozle voices. Simon Collins suggests a cross between Bamber Gascoigne and Homer Simpson.
Oh, why I don't like?
Wow, what was that?
That was, why I don't like.
Oh, that's Paul Gascoigne, isn't it? That's Paul Gascoigne.
What's this? Oh, Bamber Gascoigne. Oh dear, that's I thought it was Paul Gascoigne.
It's like the Jamaican Geordie all over again.
Yeah, ever so sorry. Yeah, I meant Bamber Gascoigne. I can't remember what he would have sounded like anyway. But would it be like every time you get one wrong, he would just go do or something like that at the end? I guess.
He'd be looking for a starter for 10 from somewhere.
Yes. Well, once again, I have to jump in and say I'm too young to remember him.
Oh, great stuff.
A contrast at the other end.
That's a bit of a fairy tale, really.
Happy, so happy. Couldn't sleep last night. I had to have a couple of injections because I was destroyed. I had a couple of injections because I couldn't sleep. So nervous. I'm happy. I'm now away to get me shoot measured. Yes!
What about your start to the game?
It wasn't bad, was it?
There we are, the shy, sensitive Paul Gascoigne.
That was absolutely groovy. I hope you enjoyed that fantastic piece of music there from Bruno St Gelais. We're going to go back to part 2 of our interview with the man himself, Guh-roovy. to finish us off here, we have the question randomizer. This is a new feature here on Teletext R. I have a random selection of teletext-related questions, and I'm going to spin the wheel, and it's going to land on 3 questions that you're going to answer for us right now.
Okay, this is kind of quiz or something?
Well, kind of. We have a bank of questions, and the selector is going to select a random one. So, the first question from the randomizer is, did you ever have anything published on Teletext? I guess that would be Canadian Teletext. Did you ever send any letters in or submit any news?
Never, never. We never see the technology behind the screen. You don't see what we saw on the screen with the music. We never see the technology behind and never call. Maybe people on the community billboard call the cable service to do provide one. They send an announcement and like that.
So,
but not me. Not me.
But were no letters pages or anything like that on Canadian Teletext, were there?
Yeah.
No, that's unfortunate.
No.
You missed out.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to spin the wheel again. I don't really have a wheel here. You're just going to have to pretend that I'm spinning the wheel.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, so, this is an interesting one. What is your earliest memory of Teletext?
Earliest, as I say, in the 70s. The first time you mean? Okay. On the cable service, my dad and my mom and my brother changed the channel, and they fall on this channel 10 and channel 13, and they see that wow, we got the letter on screen with colors and the flashing, and wow, Dad, can you I want to see that channel. Dad. And my dad select the channel. Oh, this is really like cartoon. It's not interesting. Yeah. So this is my early, maybe I saw a video game a little bit before the teletext, but teletext gave me more attention because of the text rather than blocky graphic of the Atari of my grandbrother. So, so this is the early one. That's exactly.
Okay, so you prefer teletext over the Atari?
I like video games, but the teletext always, because it was the first contact for the computer, it always be, and we come back this year for this. So
excellent. The teletext comeback, and finally we're going to spin the wheel one more time, and here it is. What is your own personal definition of teletext? How would you describe it to an alien that just landed from the United States? I mean Jupiter.
Oh, yeah. What a question. Welcome to communication, and this is the this is, I can tell the alien, this is what you miss it in your signal sending, TV signal sending to the outer space. You'll miss it because it was in cable and not in the air. So this is symbol. We use that to communicate, and this is an art, a kind of art we communicate. So maybe I'll say that to the alien or something like that. Yeah.
So they'd say, what, so you don't talk, you have to write down letters on a video screen to communicate? How very, very strange you Earth people are.
Yeah, this is a very strange view.
And actually, do you remember, is it Voyager that we sent off into space, and it's got the VHS tape on it? I wonder if Jason Robertson could use his VHS to teletext software and his Linux system to recover the teletext from that. Do you think the aliens could use that software and experience human teletext?
Oh, maybe. Something is really because something is really cool. Let's see, some of the recovery teletext from Europe. You can. Someone recorded in 1983 or something around, and then with the software this day, the recovery, because of the horizontal line for the transmission is recorded on tape. That's really genius. This line transmission from decoder to decode the teletext, This is that's the same way you use for closed caption. There's something in common with teletext between the Canada and UK. This is the closed caption service. Yeah, something we still got this on our HD TV nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, we still have that service here in the UK. We only have one or two full teletext services, analog teletext services, but if you switch on your analog TV, hit 888 on teletext, you'll get the subtitles. So somewhere out there, somewhere in the BBC television centre and the ITV television centre, they're still running the teletext servers.
Of course. Maybe, I'm sure.
Teletext lives! Teletext lives! Sorry.
Yeah, that's why the teletext live on the closed caption in Quebec. Yeah, you can go back to I can activate the closed caption. But something interesting, we got a remote control on our television in Canada. Got this 4-color, the 4-color button with the fast link. You get this magenta, red, and green. I don't know. Maybe. There was a teletext decoder on your HGTV because I got it on my TV. This is let's get the remote there. There's the red, green, yellow, and blue button.
Well, maybe you do. Maybe you do, because a lot of teletext TVs still do exist, and I've still yet to find evidence that they are selling TVs without teletext.
Of course,
it still lives.
TV. Still lives on the HD TV. I remember that you do to my TV setting menu and see I can select for the closed caption TXT1, TXT2, or CC1, CC2. Maybe there was a teletext decoder on that. Yeah.
Have to do some research into that. Tell us about your current teletext services.
Punctual text is. I don't always say was. There's the new board teletext service. This is a mix of video text, the DTX 100. This is an electronic billboard GIF I have from someone. An authentic electronic billboard that run on a Commodore 64. And then this is the kind of a mix of all the technology of the teletext we love, from the Mode 7, European Mode 7, so the DTX 100, and then the video text. So we do something like a flash projection with the heading, with the time and dates, and then we do the page that with 8-bit kind of picture with the fixed font. Fixed as font for the text, and use a 8-bit Photolab Android on an Android phone to change the picture. And so this is our lovely multi-mix teletext for all these years, mixed on the same teletext. Yeah.
Brilliant. And you can access that at your own channel, is that right?
For now, this is online, just like a web page. Put that on the Google Drive account for now, and then there's a URL you can go to that, and the full teletext is on the web page on your browser. So you can use the browser when you hook to the television, put that full screen, and you got a teletext on the TV with the music as well, with the music on background. As well, you can also use a Chromecast from Google Chrome to your TV, and so. This is a semi-web page and semi-teletext at the same time.
Oh, wow. So you can get the Punctletext teletext service on your television, ladies and gentlemen. Please go and do it.
Yeah, of course. Maybe it would be some kind of web page. Put some link, clickable link on it, on some page, but not for now. This is a next project to improve, update this Punctletext.
That's Punctletext version 2, level 2, the next advancement.
Yeah, we call it Punctletext because there's a teletext got punked, so the page setting is more punk, anarchist a little bit. Just some page remember some punk show, punk rock show, advertisement, just like the thing the Sex Pistol with a different letter from different review and every different magazine. This kind of a college of you know what I mean.
Yeah, I like the name Punkletext. It rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, the rose of the tongue, and the tricolor, the green, the blue, and the just like the tricolor of the punk people think their air.
Yes, I'm sure Johnny Rotten himself would approve.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe. Right. Well, Bruno St Gelais, aka Bruno, thank you very much for joining us for this episode of the Teletext podcast, this little interview segment. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to hear the full version of this, I'm going to upload it individually as a YouTube video. Yes, that's not everything that we talked about. There is more. Go and hunt it out if you wish to do so. Okay, thank you very much, Carl. Unfortunately, Carl's got to leave. He has to go. I don't know why. He's probably got a phone call from Dexter Fletcher or something. He's probably very mad. But anyway, I'm here with Russty Russ, otherwise known as the enigmatic Russty Russ, with the S sets on Twitter. So, Russ, for all we know, you could very well be Minor Willie as depicted in your avatar.
Yeah, I could be. It depends which level, though. So 20 levels that you used to go through. I know my little avatar, I have a little theme now and again. Yeah, I've kept it generic at the moment. I'll keep it easy. Yeah, I used to grow up playing him, Jet Set Willie, Manic Miner. I'll sort of stick to my roots and keep him with that, really.
Well, it's a bit of a pity that Minor Willie never actually made it onto Teletext, and that could be a goal for 2016. To make a Jet Set Willie / Manic Miner teletext video game. BBC Micro doesn't count, it has to be proper teletext on a TV.
That is true. I mean, having said that, I do remember Carl, I don't know if it was Carl or someone, there is a Manic Miner teletext graphic somewhere.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, I'll have to, I don't know if it was Carl or someone's put something somewhere. I might have to have a look somewhere.
Yes, you're right. In the first or maybe the second edition of the Teletext service, yes indeed, that featured Willie. Carl did Willie. Oh dear, that sounded a little bit dodgy, didn't it? Please, Carl, don't take that out of context. Anyway, Russ, you're interested in retro television and its various associated ephemera. Is that a fair enough description?
Yeah, I mean, it's that and Teletext probably. My passion was obviously for TV from way back when, and probably ages before when you was younger, there used to be a magazine called Look In, and towards the back you'd have a TV section, have all the old logos, you'd wonder what it was like in whatever region, Granada or Thames, or I think it's just that fascination when I was a kid, and it's just stuck ever since, really.
Okay. Did you ever consider going on a teletext road trip, namely driving all the way around the UK to sample the regional teletext services? Because I know that's something that I suggested to Bruno St Gelais that we should do right now. We should do it internationally, fund a Kickstarter, and go around the world experiencing the different international teletext services.
It would be nice. I mean, you think a holiday out of it all as well. But yeah, I mean, certainly when I was probably younger, probably one of the things that I used to do just to see what was being offered. I used to go to Blackpool on holiday as a kid, the old Granada, and Oracle, Teletext back in the day would show on there. But yeah, there's fascination with it, really.
So you deliberately went in hotels and chalets, etc., that had teletext TVs, so you could sample the local teletext. Actually, I have a vague memory of these Butlins and Pontins holiday camps. They used to have their own TV channel, basically. Played on a loop all day long, and sometimes they would have guys present in the morning at about 8 AM saying, well, this is what's happening today. If you pop down to the pool at 10 AM, we're having a sponsored swim. And then 12 noon, we're having a football match on the field. Or whatever. But I kind of got this mixed up in my head, really, because somewhere that got confused with the fact that Pontins, they used to have their own teletext services. Now, I wonder if this is actually true. I wonder if anybody out there, or indeed you could answer me this, did Pontins or Butlins have their own teletext services? Do you know?
A good question. I think I did go to a Pontins in Great Yarmouth, I think. We are, I don't know, we're talking over 30 years ago now. Probably my parents would have thought get me outside playing and been stuck in front of a TV, but I'm sure there must be something, obviously. Well, I haven't said that. I don't know if they probably had TVs in chalets back then, or if they had, TV in a pub back then. Kind of thing. I know they're obviously commonplace now, but yeah, it's that long ago since I went to Pontins.
Yes, I guess that would have been a more 90s thing, because it would have been the 90s when I was going to these places, the early 90s, when teletext was becoming a bit more prominent, more widespread, I'd say. The coverage of teletext TVs at that time was really, really good, probably about 95%.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, I mean, even like multiple TVs would, it's commonplace with that now. So my parents decided to get rid of their teletext TV. I don't know if they were renting it at the time, but I was like mortified, thinking I need my fix, so to speak. So I managed to convince them to buy me a new portable TV, so rather than playing computer games or the minimum requirements to have teletext on it, so I can keep viewing it to my heart's content. And loved it back then. Loved it.
So, if you don't mind me asking, what year would this have been? Around about what time period would it have been when you got your teletext TV?
My own teletext TV. I mean, I had my first computer was a Commodore Plus 4 back in 1985. And it always stayed downstairs with what I used to call the big TV. I don't know, kids used to call it back then, the big TV in the living room. And I think my parents got to a stage where they got fed up of me forever playing it, so they got me this little white, I think it was a Bush TV. I seem to remember they had similar models in John Menzies, of all places. I think there's Argos catalogues that used to sell them as well. But so I had my small telly, and then parents rented a teletext TV back then. And then it must have been around 91, early 92, when they decided that they no longer wanted it. And again, around that period, they managed to convince them to get me this small 14-inch set. I can't remember if it had fast text on it. Trying to think now, but possibly it did. But yeah, certainly, yeah. So it was around 91, 92 that I had my small little set.
Ah, okay. So, are you sure it wasn't a 22-inch Bush?
On that bombshell. Yeah, it was definitely a 14-inch one. But having said that, my favourite, when I went into the part-time world of employment, I treated myself to a 17-inch Toshiba TV. And that, you know, it was right. It wasn't too small, wasn't too big, but yeah, I loved it at the time. Again, the old Teletext on there. But yeah, it's definitely my favourite model for a portable was the 17-inch. But yeah, no, it's all good. But yeah, no, but the 14-inch one, I loved it. It had a little stereo, well, probably fake stereo sound. It had 2 speakers either side, but it was true stereo. And it had a facility on there where obviously you could hold pages, but there was another button where you could cache one page only, so you could put it in the background. So can't remember what the button was called at the time, but yeah, I think it's unique to that particular set. I'm sure there's probably others out there. And then when Oracle ended at the end of 1992, when I stayed up late that night to watch it rendered away to the small little square in the middle of the screen, I kept that page on hold to the point where I went to bed, and yeah, that was Oracle gone for me forevermore then. There's a little memory coming back.
But, as we know, it was replaced by a new service, Teletext. Do you think the new service ever really lived up to the success, the quality of Oracle?
You know, I was thinking about this the other day. I mean, certainly when Teletext came in, it came in with a bang, and there was lots of different features. It's certainly more larger than Oracle. I always felt that Teletext, as in the company that took over, it felt a bit cold in places. I don't know. It felt like with Oracle, you could phone in with your views. It certainly was more instant. Whereas Teletext, obviously back then, before the days of email was commonplace, you had to write in and wait for your messages to come up. So it felt a little bit different in that regard. Early Teletext, so you might have seen the images of the sections were broken down into times a day. So like the kids section will be like from 7 in the morning to 9 at night, and after 9 at night you'd have like a placeholder to say, the kids section will be back tomorrow morning.
Yes.
You can actually page anything in that time, so it's almost like it was a waste of space. Nothing replaced it during the equivalent of its downtime hours, but other sections were like it as well. Obviously the after hours section that they had for obvious reasons, but you'd have like a 10-page section that would be dormant for how many hours in the day, and then obviously up it popped at 11 o'clock at night or whenever it was for its little 3 months that it lasted for. But yeah, as I said, when Teletext, the company had started, it was a lot to browse back then. So certainly, I was one of those sad people that stayed up at New Year's Eve 1992 into 93 just to see what it was offering. Certainly, it changed the way Oracle was. It's almost like, I don't know if it was changed for change's sake. Whatever was on ITV was now on Channel 4, Teletext, and vice versa. So I don't know if they were doing it for change's sake or just to keep people guessing, just so they could page everything everywhere. But yeah, I don't know whether Oracle had the fondness of it all. So it's obviously my childhood. I was 15 at the time when it ended, and obviously what it's like with childhood things. It sticks forevermore.
Yeah. My own memories of Teletext, terrestrial-wise, are exclusively Ceefax and Teletext Ltd, because I'm a little bit younger. I wasn't really around for the Oracle days. More's the pity. But I had the pleasure of the cable TV station's teletext services in the 1990s, when they rose to prominence. Actually, these teletext services were very, very good, some of them anyway. I was speaking to one of the members of the Teletext Facebook group. His name's Kristen James Mellick. I hope he doesn't mind me mentioning his name. But he did work on a lot of the cable TV teletext services, and many of them were an absolute joy to behold. So you can hop onto the Teletext Facebook group, because Kristen has posted quite a lot of basically ephemera relating to these cable teletext services, and a lot of this stuff has never actually been posted on the internet before. Things like responses to letters that kids would write. But I kind of wish that I lived in the Oracle age, because looking back at some of the recoveries that Jason Robertson has done, they are really, really distinct pages full of character. Really quite sad that those services are gone now, but thankfully, thanks to Jason's captures, we can relive the past. Relive those glory days.
The interesting thing with Jason's grabs are it's almost like Oracle's in 2 stages. The more the graphical age, the late 70s, early 80s stuff, And then once, I think Jason put some up from like 1986, and it pretty much what you saw of Oracle in 1986 was the same presentation-wise up until the end of 1992. It's almost like, I don't, maybe the graphic person went, or they decided this will be forevermore. But apart from a few section changes, it pretty much stayed the same until its bitter end, which was a shame. But yeah, certainly the early stuff that Jason's put up, where you got like David Bowie graphics, and I think Alison Moyer was on one of them. But yeah, certainly, the graphics they certainly, even with Ceefax as well, played with it more and showed it off more. And then when Ceefax went, I think it was 1989, might have been early 1990 from memory, they went all newsy and they dropped all the fun element out of it.
Yeah.
Sadly, I didn't really play Ceefax during that time until they rebranded in 1996 to the one we knew towards, before it ended a few years ago.
Mm-hmm. On that subject, when we were at Tape Britain doing the Teletext Art workshops, by total surprise, an ex-employee of Ceefax actually turned up. And we're not actually talking about Peter Kwan here, though he did turn up. I'm actually talking about another dude. I have written his name down somewhere. I'll have to go and dig it out. But he was talking to me a little bit about how he was kind of sad when they made the decision, right, that's it, no more interesting, fancy graphics. Now it's just plain text. And allegedly, the reason behind this is not through any space-saving reasons or economical reasons. Teletext is for text, and we're going to squeeze as much of that in there as possible. It's because they wanted to be distinct and different from Teletext Ltd. And they wanted to offer something a little bit different, whereas Channel 4 and Channel 3, and Channel 5 as well later, had the more characteristic, shall we say, services. Things like Digitizer, Planet Sound, etc. The BBC decided, we're gonna go completely straight-laced, providing Britain with the service that it deserves here in the 1950s. We're gonna be uncontroversial. So yeah, it was more of a branding decision, I guess.
Yeah, it got too clinical in the end. I mean, apart from a change of colour between the different 100 sections, I don't know, it just felt like a missed opportunity in the end. Why they couldn't maybe do, one channel have what it became, and then maybe BBC Two, the fun side of it, as it were. But I think the only fun element was when you used to get the top 40 charts on a Sunday, and that was it. It was like any imagery was all gone for a straight-laced version. I think the only time we actually saw anything graphical was pages from Ceefax when they did all that level 2 stuff that you love, Dan.
Orange.
I know that colour. But yeah, so it was a shame that when they made the change, there's I know there's a graphic around saying fun and game sections now ending as we're winding down certain bits, and and then it became what it became. I do remember its new launch where you had an at-speed section service and an in-depth service, and I think basically at-speed it was just less pages than the full in-depth version. So it just went the pages just went around that bit quicker to get back to where it needed to.
Okay, so yes, would they have loaded quicker because of this? Perhaps that's one side effect of having fewer graphics, etc. Would they have necessarily loaded quicker the pages that were there? Because there would have been a few dozen, I think.
From what I remember of it, there was definitely lesser pages on BBC One, and I think the page cycling was a bit quicker. I'm sure there'd be more of a technical reason behind it, but certainly the in-depth version of BBC Two was literally they had full sections, so they had like a larger news content, a larger sport content. It was almost like BBC One was like the best of, as it were. Memories not too kind for me, so I'm trying to visualise. Obviously, we're going back 25 years ago. Maybe there's an archive videotape waiting out there just to see what it was like. And I've got some images.
Guys, if you do have VHS tapes, super VHS tapes that you can spare, please do donate them to us here at Teletextr. We can send them to Jason Robertson, or I can take them when I eventually get round to the teletext recovering, and put it through the software. We can see what's on there. We can see what teletext gems are hidden within your tapes. So that's just a bit of a public service announcement.
My little mission of it must have been around 1988. My beloved Dixon's page that appeared on Ceefax. So it must be kicking around somewhere. I think it was
yes.
in the summer of 1988. I don't think it was 1989. It might have been too late. Yeah, just I'd love to know how it got there. But from what I remember, it wasn't obvious to the eye to access it. It was only like I pushed a fast text button by accident and I popped this page. It's not a page that you could page by numbers. It was like a 0AA or something. But it'll be out there. No doubt there'll be a videotape with it on somewhere.
Oh yes, I'm sure it's out there. And I'm also sure that there must have been some special remotes out there that allowed you to access these hidden hex pages within secret parts of the teletext service. Because how on earth would people like Bob Monkhouse on The Price is Right, or whatever, load up those special Price is Right screens for the showcase?
This is true. I don't think they ever show the page numbers at the top, did they? I know they used to hide sometimes, but yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, because something that people always bring up on Twitter every single week, without fail, with the bullseye repeats on Challenge TV, there's always a Teletext TV, a colour TV with teletext. And somebody always takes to Twitter and says, "Wow, a Teletext TV, how brilliant is that?" However, I don't ever remember these Bullseye Teletext TVs ever showing a special Bullseye custom page. It was always the Oracle or Teletext Ltd homepage, so they missed a trick there. But actually, I will say that I have done a bully graphic in Teletext. I've never posted this on the internet because it was for a secret project. One of those things that you do for a client and you're not allowed to post on the internet. But I have done a few Bullseye graphics. So maybe if they bring back Bullseye once again, they'll be able to use these new graphics when they have an analog Teletext TV as a prize.
Is this like you saying if they bring it back, hint, hint, or...
Yes, hint, hint.
Yeah.
Bring back the whole Teletext service.
As I said, I put it up the other night, the old Artel from Ireland, RTE, and yeah, still could access the pages on it.
Alright, so what's on there? What did you find? What did you dig up?
Well, I didn't go too far into it because unfortunately the TV's being claimed by my wife at the time. But yeah, certainly, I mean, I put the images on Twitter, but I brought up the BBC One TV for the night earlier this week. But yeah, so I had Channel 4 listings and everything with subtitles, I think, from memory, apart from one programme. But the interesting thing is, I'll try and get an image of it next time because you have to faff around to get it to work, because it doesn't work by HDMI. You have to plug your SCART cable in. But most things these days, your cable's at the back of your TV and normally a mess unless you're clean and tidy. But the news graphic is pretty similar to the early 90s Ceefax news graphic as well. See if I can dig that out somewhere, if it's on the internet somewhere. If not, I can always grab a picture at some point.
Well, one of the things I noticed about Ertel is it's very, very Ceefax circa 2000, in that it is teletext is for text. And I was given a dump of a whole Ertel teletext service around about July, August last year, 2015, around about Wimbledon time, because I remember I was looking through it when I was listening to Andy Murray on the radio. There was a guy on Twitter, Remlap1986, he sent me them if you want to follow him. I spent a while looking through them, but the thing that struck me is that there's absolutely no graphics at all. It's very, very stripped down. It's a bit of a pity, really, because if you think, what would teletext be like today? I like to think it would be this all-singing, all-dancing light show, basically. But the reality of the situation is that probably what it would be, this happened today, really boring, even more staid and stale than Ceefax in 2006.
I was viewing it, and you get so used to the dreaded digital text where you're using your arrow keys, and you're still in your head still thinking you can use it still, when obviously you've got to step back a bit and then obviously use numbers, and obviously you can't use the arrows like you would do on your digital text. It took me a good few seconds to get used to it again. Yeah, no, certainly. I think the first time I actually saw it, and it was probably the first time I used Teletext Live, because where I live, I would have thought I probably used Teletext Live, I don't know, about 10 years ago. So the first time I actually used it in a live sense, it was great. You went instantly back in time, and you was just there in the zone to use it again.
So, can you explain for our listeners the Teletext Live experience?
Well, from my point of view, when I was younger, I used to wake up in the morning and obviously check the news stories, TV guide, any football type stuff. In the evening, I said I'm more of an Oracle person, but they used to have a teen section on there called Buzz, and I had like a computer game section, which, if Mr. Bifflo's listening, they had a something called FX, which was pre-digitizer. FX back then, it was basically a one-page, multi-page, it was about 8 pages. I can't remember. I assume it was updated daily on there, but again, memories are a bit blank. But the stories, obviously, because there were more, obviously, about the 16-bit Amigas and STs, and I think Digitizer was moving away from that kind of thing, concentrating more on the consoles. But yeah, so I'll come home from school and view all that, and obviously going forward now, as I said, live teletext. It's I don't know. It's almost like using it for the first time, where you suddenly got freedom to use it, and using your own little bubble, and you can go to wherever you could on there. Where it could take you. So it's your own like mini library, isn't it? In a way, where you can access things in real time.
So, I have to ask you this. You may not have an answer to this, but did you ever read about any significant world events or news items on teletext for the first time? For example, I found out that Michael Jackson had died via analog teletext in 2009. Do you have any similar experiences to relate?
I know you're asking on the spot there. Probably Freddie Mercury, actually. I remember reading that first of all on there, because I probably more have read the news on teletext and actually watched it on TV, on the TV news. But then I seem to get more and more fix off reading a bunch of text and watching it visually for some reason. News flashes, I might have heard about the sad events at Lockerbie and the Zeebrugge ferry disaster. Obviously, back then, your news programmes were like every 3 hours or something, unless they did break in for a news flash. It's obviously the rolling stuff that you get these days. So teletext very much back then was you have that information now, or when the person updated it. So yeah, certainly I just felt more using that than waiting for the the news at 1, 6, and 9 o'clock as it was back then before they went to 10 o'clock on BBC. But probably Freddie Mercury one was one I probably remember the most.
I believe there may be a picture, a teletext screen grab of this particular event. Yeah, I believe the headline was Freddie Mercury dead, and that page does exist. I think I've seen it at some point. I'll try and dig it up for you.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I mean, as I say, so I was very much more into the news side on teletext rather than watching it visually. Whether it's because I was in my own little room, away from the parents, so they could do what they wanted. Also, it's pretty much made up in my own little room, computer, or whatever, and teletext and all that. So so I was in my own little bubble, as it were, back then. But but certainly, definitely did read as much as I could back then. Interestingly, put a scan up or something, or put it on the Facebook group. I found this old Oracle leaflet from 1982. It had a page, the ITV Oracle from the IBA, whatever happened to them. And it says, can children read television? Oracle runs a kids club, which was news to me. I think they're probably more of a section. But Oracle runs a kids club, with each week receives a flood of jokes, suggestions, requests, and birthday greetings, which are transmitted with the contributors' names. Oracle has provided enormously popular children for some time, and combining, as it does with the power of television, with the written word, it can often contribute to their reading skills. It's true in a way, so obviously the matter you could read back then.
Yes, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that, because a lot of non-English speakers, I do know, learned to read from teletext subtitles. It wasn't just a fantastic resource for the hearing impaired, but also as a learning tool for those who are learning the English language. And I actually would recommend this technique to anybody who's learning Spanish, French, Italian. Watch a show with the Italian, French subtitles at the bottom. It really, really does help you. Not that I've ever learned a language other than English, but from third-hand, second-hand reports, it is allegedly a very, very useful tool, and something that is kind of dying out as analog teletext dies out. Although, as you know, you can still get analog subtitles to this day.
Ooh, yeah. Well, speaking of which, in the same leaflet, it says Oracle has a special appeal to deaf and hard of hearing viewers. Not only do they have access to the sound-free service, but Oracle, together with the IBA, is spending much time and money establishing a special service of subtitling for the deaf. Oracle is currently subtitling some 3 hours, obviously it's 1982, so some 3 hours a week of ITV's most popular programs, and by the following year, it will have doubled, allowing the deaf and hard of hearing to join the enjoyment of one of the most popular forms of modern communication.
Excellent. So what was the year that was from again?
Well, basically, it's from 1982, but it's a 4-page leaflet, which I'll pop up at some point, that says compiled from the ITV yearbook 1983, so television and radio 1983, which was apparently in all good bookshops and bookstores at £3.50, I guess.
Ah, brilliant. There should be more publications based around teletext, and I'm sure we'll talk more about that in this year of Teletextr podcasts. Right, if I may just move the subject on ever so slightly, and ask you, do you have a favourite piece of teletext art, or perhaps a favourite teletext page from the classic teletext services?
Yeah, we'll gloss over the famous worm picture, but mine... I used to love Barney's Bunch, which was an Oracle cartoon, so the days before Turn of the Worm on Teletext, so... I'm sure you've seen the pictures of it. So basically a badger called Barney and have his little friends. But the graphics on it were, for what it was beautiful. It didn't go right to the end of the service. I think it got replaced, but it just wasn't the same. But yeah, Barney's Bunch was sublime. So I think it was Trisha someone from memory, whoever did the artwork for that. It was great. But yeah, graphic-wise, trying to think. Also there's some great stuff from digitised as well. But from my childhood days, but yeah, definitely Barney's Bunch. There was 4T, the dog that was on Foretell. And again, I actually had a picture from Ian Irvine that used to design the 4T dog and some of the graphics on Foretell. And this is going back to the late 90s. And I think I took a pot chance of emailing him at Ceefax. And he sent me a photo, an image of all the characters, 4T the dog, and the sad thing is on the final day of its last ever episode, the final graphic was basically the graphic artist putting all the animals back into the box forevermore, never to be seen again. I just hope there's holes in the box, and hope they were still breathing. They were take it out again. But,
yeah. I like to think.
I know on the is it teletext.org.uk got the full-blown ITV service for last day of Oracle, but hopefully someone will find the last day of Channel 4, because that's where that particular 4T cartoon will be. The 4T cartoon will be in there, and obviously got the last Park Avenue, the world's first teletext soap. I don't know if it was the only teletext soap, but yeah, you sort of, I think you say picture characters on there as well. Yeah, there's certainly some good stuff on the Channel 4 side as well. Hopefully some more palm trees, but I think there's more ICV with the holidays, wasn't it?
Yes. I'm actually starting up a page at teletextart.co.uk dedicated to palm trees, and I'm going to make it an ongoing project that whenever I find a teletext palm tree, any teletext page that features a palm tree, I'm going to stick it on there. Currently, we only have 20 or so, but I'm sure loads more are out there. So if you know where they are, send them in, we'll stick them up there, and we're going to make this enormous list for posterity. Because remember, teletext will be remembered for 2 things: palm trees and pornography.
And sometimes both at the same time.
Yes. I have a particularly relevant photograph which I'm looking at right now. It incorporates both. But it's a good job you can't see it, because we'd be taken off the air. Ooh, I can feel that explicit rating winging its way to this very podcast. I hope that doesn't happen.
It's lost the track of what were we talking. Yeah, no, on the palm tree side, didn't we go through a stage where I think there's the three of us, I don't know if it's Jason or if it's Carl, I think we've seen how many palm trees was on one teletext page, and I think we got to 5 on one page.
Yes, I can hack that up right now, actually. The specific image you're referring to is a St. Lucia image. It's from Oracle, 80s or 90s, and it's page 12 out of 18 on the holidays page, offering 7 nights for £590. And there are a grand total of 6 palm trees in one teletext page. The current champion. Can that be beaten? We don't know.
And are they all in the distance? Are they quite big, or...?
Well, they're kind of in the distance. They're in the background. But listen, it doesn't count if you go and make one of these palm tree pages. They have to have been on a classic teletext page. Please do send those in to us, because we'd love to see them.
Indeed.
Right, you mentioned Barney's Bunch a little bit earlier there. He was edited by a certain Simon Hardiman, I do believe, who I interviewed, actually, a couple of months ago for a project I have ongoing at the moment. It should soon see the light of day. I asked Simon, did Barney ever receive any fan mail, any knickers through the post? Or at least a bit of felt tip pen fan art? And Simon said, we received lots of fan mail, but no knickers, thankfully. People used to send in their drawings of Barney and his friends. It was designed to appeal to all ages, like Charlie Brown. So there you go, straight from Simon Hardiman, the creator's mouth.
Oh, if I knew that was the case, I would have upped the ante and, I don't know, maybe try and find a pair, but it's all too late now.
Well, you can still send him some, I guess. Oh no, we could send him a picture of one, less creepy, on Twitter, because he is on Twitter if you know where to look. All these ex-Teletext dudes are on Twitter. It's brilliant.
It's possible, not just Teletext. I mean, you know, if they can spend, you know, a couple of seconds to reply, I think it's great that you can tap into everything that you love, be it teletext or anything else, and you know, if you get a reply, then suddenly you feel like you're part of their lives, or you know, they're appreciating that you know you've got a love for a certain thing, and you know, if they take time to reply, I always think it's great. So when I've had replies from people, you know, in teletext world, you know, it's always great to hear people's replies.
I think in our own heads, these guys who worked for Teletext were the superstars, or at least in my own head they were, because wow, these guys, they get to write for Teletext, they get to put something on the television, and they were these big Hollywood superstars in my brain. Maybe it's because they're not on Teletext anymore. They look back on it fondly and are willing to talk about it. But I guess it would have been exactly the same in the 90s as well. If you wrote to them, they would have been very, very happy to write back personally, because they are very approachable people.
Yeah, so I did try writing in back in the day, but I think I tried, there was on Buzz, I think there was something called Write On, where you can get your comments up. Tried about 2 or 3 times at the time. Obviously didn't have the gift of the gab back then, so I admitted defeat, and that was it. So I stopped at 3 times. Obviously, determination wasn't there.
Oh, okay. So, Russ, any prominent Teletext memories that you'd like to tell us about here on the Teletextr podcast?
Yeah, my biggest one was the changeover from Oracle to Teletext. They shot themselves in their own foot because I think the government wanted to close down Oracle in the late 80s, and the Oracle themselves campaigned saying, no, we need to be a franchise in our own right. It all went up to tender, and applications went in, and Teletext was in there. I think a consortium behind the likes of TVAM. I don't know if Carlton had some kind of bid as well. And I think it was April 1992 when they lost. So obviously that period of 8 months, so it was all winding down. And then on the night itself, I'll never forget page 100, which I think was similar to how Ceefax when that ended in Northern Ireland. But page 100 went sworn into the screen to a little box. The only difference is with Ceefax, they had it for like 6 hours that night. Whereas on Oracle, that was it. Once the white little blob in the middle of the screen went, it literally took the whole service down. I think you could still access the regional service for a couple of minutes. And then I think I read somewhere the Teletext has in the company specifically timed the front page where it says, "Welcome to Teletext," to make sure that was the first page that loaded up for everyone. Yeah, so when that loaded up for the first time, so again, like we were saying earlier, seeing what it offered. But yeah, it's almost like an endpoint in the way. I mean, I was 15 at the time. I'm sure there's bigger things out there for a 15-year-old to worry about. That was me at that time, and it was a sense of an end of an era. And yeah, I was on that final day page as much as I could because I knew it was all going to change. Back then it was no likes of the internet to spoil things, so it was all going to be fresh and new come midnight. And yeah, the interesting thing about that one is because obviously I only had the small portable TV. My parents went out that night, so because it was, I decided to hog downstairs. So I had the big TV either because that night there's a few of the regional ITV stations were going to Thames TV, which was obviously the big of the 3 or 4 that was going. So I literally had that on the main TV watching, and then I had the small portable with Oracle going at the same time. So obviously I was in my element back then.
Multi-screen teletext.
Indeed, yeah. So the parents were doing what they were doing, and yeah, I was bringing in the new year in the way I could.
Well, on that subject, to me, there is just something so cool about multiple television screens displaying teletext, and I don't know what it is, but maybe it's the fact that when you walked past a television shop in the 80s, they would always, some of them, would have various different teletext broadcasts set to different pages, and you could just stand there and browse them like you would in a library or something. And you thought, this is the future! Who needs books anymore? Because, look, we have text on TV. Burn your books. Just go to a TV shop, stand in front of a TV shop in the street, get run over. What's the teletext?
I presume, I don't know if you did this, where you used to have, when pages of Ceefax used to be on TV during its downtime, and then the equivalent of page that was on Ceefax at the time, and if you mix the TV, it's almost like it'd be a shadow of itself.
Unfortunately, I never actually did that. Yeah, once again, I'm missing out. Kind of wish I did, but the good thing about that is you also get the easy listening music that you don't get with regular teletext. What you could do is wait for pages from teletext to come on and browse regular teletext at your own leisure, and you have the appropriate soundtrack to teletext. It's not the news or the football commentary or anything like that. It's pages from Ceefax. So what you've got to do is change your sleep pattern. Go to sleep during the day, wake up during the night, and browse pages from Ceefax by the moonlight.
It's interesting because Ceefax, it had that kind of music, but I think the likes of ITV and Channel 4 with Foretell in the early hours of the morning, it was more classical music. I'm sure I'm going to offend people when I say this. It was more like that elevator type music that you used to get on Ceefax, which was all good. I didn't mind, hearing there's some good tunes out there. But yeah, it was a definitely different contrast in there.
I wouldn't actually be able to compare and contrast the different choices of music by memory, but a lot of those are actually uploaded to the internet, so you can browse them at your own leisure. There are even certain websites that you can visit that emulate the pages from Ceefax experience, including music. So, guys, it isn't gone forever.
I don't know if it's the test card circle, club circle. Apologies if I did it wrong, but they used to list, or I assume they still do. They used to list all the different music that was on Ceefax, and I think they used to do it by year. So on the website, if you go to articles on the top left, then you see like a Ceefax log. There's all kinds of Ceefax pages, and it's where whatever music was played, it's all been all logged month by month from the different tapes that we use. So it's a good archive for those that are interested in that kind of thing.
Okay, I'd guess some became more famous than others, these tracks that they used. In particular, people always bring up Bart as one that's particularly fondly remembered. In fact, that's the one track they always mention.
Yeah, good old Bart. And obviously the unique thing about Bart was it was the last ever track used for the final pages from Ceefax at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I think it certainly got its good uses out of it in the final days of Ceefax. I think they used it a few times as well.
That might be why people remember it then, because it was used a lot in that period.
I think on that last week, I think they used it at the beginning as well. I think there's a few people complaining, saying, "Oh, they've cut the start of it." But yeah, unless it is well known because it is that last track. It is a good track. It's I'm trying to think when it is 1970s or something that came out. But
well, this might be a good point to say once again that the music on today's show, on this episode of the Teletextr podcast, was provided by Bruno St Gelais, whom you heard in an interview earlier in this episode. Currently, I'm with Russty Russ, aka Russty Russ on Twitter.
I was going to say, can I just say the underscore's important because I've got a funny feeling there's another person with that name as well.
Ah, okay, sorry, yes. So, at Rusty_Russ. Okay. We'll link it up in the description and anywhere else that I remember to do so. Probably nowhere. So, Russ, is there anything else teletext related that you'd like to chat about in the remainder of this show?
I think it's having a way that obviously teletext isn't as what it was a few years ago, and it's obviously dwindled away. I wish they kept it running because I'm sure that apart from us diehards, there would still be some use out of it. I know it's digital text is slow in places, but the whole point of analog teletext was the simplicity of it all. It's a shame that it has gone, and I know this obviously you can find it in places, but I know part of me wishes that it was still there because I know on digital text you have to, for a news story, you have to go through 2 or 3 pages to read a story, whereas on the old teletext it used to be all on one page. It was all there for you. Sounds like it's creating work for you.
That's right. With the new BBC Red Button interactive service, which they're actually starting to phase out, the equivalent of one teletext page fits on 2 subpages of the new digital format, which it's not really as economical, even though you've got a small windowed TV screen simultaneously there while you're reading the text. I'd rather just have the whole teletext page, to be honest. And, in fact, if you go to the Football League tables, they still employ this format. 324 onwards, I believe. They still cling on to the old page numbering system. But yes, go and check that out while you still can, because it's the grandson of teletext, and it's still around. We don't know how much longer for, though, so savour it, because I'm pretty sure in a couple of years when that's gone, we're going to say, "Oh, we missed it!" even though it was rubbish.
Well, the interesting thing about the BBC digital text was that to begin with, it didn't have page number, and I think people complained because you used to literally obviously go through all your arrows to get to the page you want. I think they brought that in later on. I was trying to think when it was. Might have been like the mid-2000s when they brought that in. Could have been right. I'm sure someone will correct me. The other big bugbear is there's certain pages, like if you're doing the red button through BBC One, sometimes a certain page will have to take you to the news channel, so you end up not listening to something that's in the background or getting a visual. I was trying to think of some pages of that, and it's annoying because you might be. It's not like the old days where you mix a button, you can have teletext and then the pitch in the background interlaced. That's when you want it to be taken off somewhere else, and obviously you read what you read for a minute or so, and then you have to come back in. You've lost where you were. And
yeah, well. Actually, thinking about it, this was possibly the golden age of the TV as a multimedia centre, because now everything's switched back to mobiles and computer monitors. But around about 2000 to 2010, that sort of era wasn't just teletext's heyday, but the television's heyday. Because personally, what I would do was submit emails to the teletext services such as Digitizer and the magazine on my television. With my TeleWest box, you could get access to emails and have your own email inbox through your TeleWest box. And all this stuff would be through my own television. I thought, wow, man, this is the future. But I guess all that stuff's moved naturally to the computers now.
I thought the future was the Amstrad emailer, but we were wrong on that.
Oh, the Amstrad emailer.
Yeah.
I hope it's not as
My
bad
mum
as that Amstrad pen pad thingamajig.
Yeah, my mum had one. I often wondered why she had it, because it was a glorified phone for her. That's all it was.
Oh, so that was kind of a precursor to those Telewest boxes. Oh, by the way, it took about 10 minutes to write one email, 50 words. It was just so slow, like walking through molasses. But it was cool, because you got to type stuff into your television. And I used to send stupid emails to the magazine.
Yeah, as I said, it's all changed now, and but as they say in the pop world, they all bring stuff back, so you never know. It could come back again.
It could indeed. I really hope it does. And one small crumb of comfort is in the fact, and I'll repeat this because we said this in the last episode, the servers are still there. They're still running. They need them to run the analog subtitles. So somewhere there is a machine. They probably come in the morning, switch it on, switch it off for the night again, and it's not actually maintained. But I like to think that somewhere in the Media City in Salford, there is a room, and it's just all teletext servers. It would be so cool to just go in there and not destroy it all, because we're not Luddites. But wouldn't it be even cooler if they said, well, we'll let you have a couple of pages for one day, and we can broadcast, say, an art project for one day, and bring teletext back?
Yeah, you have to be careful what you transmit, though, 'cause I'm sure there was stories in the past where they accidentally news stories of certain royal family dying, it accidentally went live, and I'm trying to think how that came about. But yeah, so I'm sure we'd never do anything like that.
Oh, of course not, no. It would have to be vetted by whatever principles and guidelines they currently have in place at the BBC for broadcasting, much like Teletext had in the 90s. And in fact, if those guidelines, those teletext is for text guidelines, were still running, we wouldn't be able to put graphics up. Oh, BBC, let us have graphics. Actually, after this podcast, I think I will email them and ask them if it is at all possible for us to do that. And if they don't reply, I'm just going to keep trying. I did try this with Airtel, but I only emailed them twice and got no response. I've got to be more persistent. I might send an email to them as well. Try it again.
Well, as long as the editor's Mr. Teletext, of course.
Yes, of course. Did you know? Here's a hashtag teletext fact. Prestel is so called because it was invented in Preston by Terry Venables.
Things you learn on it, it's great.
Yeah, it's brilliant, this podcast, isn't it? Brilliant. Right. I believe time is ticking on. Look at that. We're almost at the end of this edition of the Teletexter podcast. This third edition. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. And thank you to all of our hosts and guests. We had Carl, myself, Bruno St Gelais, the chairman of the Canadian branch of the Teletexter Facebook group. And, of course, we still have with me here Russty_Russ.
Indeed. What about the underscore?
Yeah, don't forget that. Thank you very much for joining us, Russ. Anything else to say in closing?
No, it's said it's been all good talking to you guys, and yeah, I'll keep on listening and submit stuff where I can. But everyone that's put stuff up over time, it's always a great thing to see.
Excellent.
But yeah, no, everyone keep at it. I enjoy seeing what I see up on there. Obviously, a lot of talented people out there. It's yourself included, of course. But yeah, no, keep up the good work.
Excellent, and thank you very much for keeping the Teletext name alive, not only on the Facebook group, but on Twitter, where you are fairly popular and well known as a top Teletext dude. So keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Russ. And you guys out there, keep listening, because we'll be back for the next edition. we have some plans, which we're not going to give away just yet. But believe me, the next one is going to be a Biffo edition. Well, hopefully that's not given too much away. I'll leave you on that cliffhanger, ladies and gentlemen. So, what do we have to play us out this evening? Ah, right, well, what else but another piece of music from Bruno St Gelais. Take it away, St Gelais. Hey, hey, hey.
Hello, I'm Dexter Fletcher, and you're listening to the Teletextr podcast. Now, where's my money? Give me my 10 quid. Here, how come I sound exactly like Alan Sugar, mate? And how come I'm Australian? What? Having a laugh, mate.